Guangzhou Prairie, it is actually already crowded with the visitors and people from the local region. I would say the number of audiences is already over 50,000. It is a grand celebration, and also today, it is also the International Cultural Expo. So, during these days, it is quite well known for the term what we call the One Expo and One Festival. What does that mean? One Expo is the 4th Silk Road International Cultural Expo, and the One Festival refers to the 9th Dunhuang Tour Silk Road International Tourism Festival. And actually, in the past, there were 3 sessions of the Silk Road International Cultural Expo, and the opening ceremony was taken place in Dunhuang, and this time it is the first time that we host the 4th Silk Road Cultural Expo in Gannan. So let's take a look. What's the differences in this place and what are the specialties in this place? And pretty soon during the event, there's a grand performance. Now you're seeing there are a number of people who are performing right now. In this place, it is actually the welcoming corridor. And you could see representatives from the 8 counties and the city-level cities from Gannan are actually performing here to welcome people from around China. So you can see in different sections, you can feel the different type of the Tibetan culture. So here you could see people, these representatives are actually from Duodi County. They're doing the Rattle drum dance. Now you could see the Rattle drum dance from Duodi County. Actually, you could see this place can already served as the cultural corridor, because there were 7 counties and 1 county-level city. They are performing here to welcome the guests who are attending the Cultural Expo and the tourism festival. So they are trying to show their best, to show their hospitality, and also pray for good harvest. Actually, in this place, you can already feel some of the Tibetan feature. And you can see they are also wearing traditional costumes. It is actually showing the inclusiveness and the openness of China. Also, we have a special guest here who is one of the leaders for the Duodi County. Now you could see there were many people dancing here. Does that mean that all of these people are actually just like citizens of the county? That's right. Back in the old days, 1,000 years ago, you could see this kind of dance is actually an intangible cultural heritage. There were tens of thousands of people who inherit this kind of dance, what we call the Rattle drum dance. And each year during the Spring Festival, people are gathering all together in Duodi. They are dancing the rattle drum. They are actually praying for the good harvest and the fortunes for the new year. So can you give us more introduction about the rattle drum? This kind of rattle drum is made of sheepskin. This is actually a smaller size of the rattle drum, but for an official one, it's large in size. And I'm quite interested in their traditional costume, as we all know that there was some Tibetan costume. And I realized that each one of the county, they're wearing different costumes. Even though I could say this is a performance, but I can tell it is rather a fashion show. So what are some of the special features for the costumes from the Duodi County? So as I just told you, this kind of costume is made from sheepskin. It is quite costly. So for example, one of the coat, if you want to use the premium sheepskin, it takes over 10,000 RMB. So it is quite symbolic when you're wearing this kind of traditional costume to do the rattle drum dance. And also I realized the hat is quite different. That's right, we are also using some of the hair from the sheep to make this kind of hat. So for this kind of costume, I assume it's quite hot, especially when you wear it during summer. Well, not really. Actually, in winter, if you wear this kind of costume, it can actually prevent you from snow or prevent you from rain. It's quite convenient. So many people would like to wear this kind of costume. So for this kind of traditional costume, it is quite daily. People not only wearing it during a festival or performance, they're wearing this kind of costume during their daily life. As you could see, in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, the temperature differences is quite big. That's why people are wearing different kind of costumes at different hours of the day. And for this kind of rattle drum dance, we only have male performers. It is also a kind of tradition or a religion in the local area. We only allow men to play this kind of rattle drum dance. And also in schools, there were like classes who teach you how to do this rattle drum dance. And this kind of dance is also considered as one of the intangible cultural heritage. And it's quite a grand performance for the rattle drum dance. And this time we are doing this kind of dance just want to show it to the guests who are coming from the countries along the Belt and Road route. So this kind of dance is also considered as a name card for us. So how many people are doing this kind of dance? As you could see, there are over 400 people participating in this kind of dance. Some of them, they're just farmers and maybe they're herdsmen. But today, because of the cultural aspect and the tourism festival, they just quit their job for one day and they just want to play and dance alongside with the music. And actually 1 hour ago at 9 a.m., there's also a Gannan Cultural Tourism Exhibition Center. So 1 hour ago, there is an opening ceremony and a speech section for the opening ceremony inside of the Gannan Cultural and Tourism Exhibition Center. And now some of the guests, they're just finished, they completed the opening ceremony. They're coming here and join the team for the performance. And also at this place, you can actually feel the culture of the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. And just now, we have seen the rattle drum dance from Duodi County. And now you can see there are another county who are doing the performance. So altogether, we have 1,600 people who are performing here. And so this county is actually coming from Lintan, and you could see the costume is quite different from the costume compared to Duodi County. And for Lintan, for its location, is quite unique for Gannan. So for the population of Lintan, altogether they have around 160,000 people, among which like 30,000 are from Hui ethnic group, and also they have a portion for Tibetan ethnic group, and also the rest of them are from Han. So also their dance shows the diversity of the county. And also you could see those who are holding the fans, they're actually from Hui minority group. I have just talked about the population and the mix of the Lintan, and you can see like 30,000 actually coming from Hui ethnic group, and 10,000 people are actually coming from the Tibetan ethnic group, and also you have some people from Han also joining the performance. So for this 1,000-meter avenue, it is actually a culture corridor, and it also demonstrates the performance that are coming from 7 counties and 1 county level city. And they're performing here to welcome all the guests that are coming all around the world and China. You can see they're wearing the costume in Han. As I have just mentioned, there is a good population mix in the Lintan County. There were some people from Hui minority group, and also some people are Tibetans, and some of them are just from Han. So I have a special guest here. So for your costume, so can you give us more introduction about your costume? So this is actually a Han costume, even though we made some improvements and upgrades. Even though it looks similar to the costumes compared to the Hui minority group. And today we are actually celebrating the diversity under the Cultural Expo. That's why you could see people from different minority groups are gathered together and to do the performance all together. And for Lintan, actually some people are coming from the southern part of China. So we just want to add some special flavor into this kind of dance. So for those people who are from Han, they are actually migrating from the southern part of China and to live in the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. That's why we need different generations and the people from different minority groups to form the glorious culture of this area. As you can see, the way they do their hair is also quite unique. Yes, they're actually imitating the traditional image for a lady in the southern part of China. That's why they put all their hair up and also doing this kind of dance. And you can see they're holding fans, also a unique feature from the southern part of China. So you could see these people, they're actually wearing the traditional Han costume and doing the dance. And I could see this kind of figure is quite traditional. Actually, I would like to recall that at the beginning of the opening ceremony, we are also performing a kind of dance that is quite unique to Lingtan. And this kind of performance is called Hua, meaning that like people sing to each other. And for the lyrics, they all play by ear. Can you give us a demonstration, a performance of Hua? Yes, I could. So I have just sang one lyric, meaning that we are actually in very beautiful scenery. We are quite eco-friendly, and for that area, it is quite rich in the tourism resources, and we really welcome other people to pay a visit here. In these days, we all know that the green mountains and lucid waters are invaluable assets. Actually, we can feel it in Lingtan. Because in Lingtan, it is quite abundant in natural resources. It's quite beautiful. And for all of the scenic spots, they're actually natural scenic spots. And there are many tourism hotspots in Lingtan. When I was back in an interview with the guests from the Duodi counties, we are talking about for most of the performers, they're just coming from all walks of life. Yeah, some people, they're teachers, and some people, they're just admins. So if they're interested, they would like to join the dance for the opening ceremony for the One Expo and One Festival. They are quite enthusiastic about the performance here. Actually, it's a lot of hard work for them, especially at this hour. It is quite hot. But we really want to do a good job for the opening ceremony. And for all of these performers, they practice every day until this day. They just want to deliver their best performance. As I have just mentioned for Gansu, all of them are paying attention to the One Expo and the festival. So in the past, when we host the Cultural Expo and the Tourism Festival in Dunhuang, it received quite well from the general public. And this time, it is the first time that we moved the venue to Gannan. It also shows the great aspiration from the people who are living in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. That's right. We just want to show the solidarity and the unity of the ethnic minority group. And for hosting these two events is actually a challenge. At the same time, it is also an opportunity for Gannan. When we think of the grand and magnificent Dunhuang, we always think of the desert and also the history. However, if we study carefully about the Silk Road route, we could see that this kind of Silk Road route does not only cover the important stops on the route, it also covered some of the regions that are located in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. And in ancient days, actually, Lingtan is also of strategic significance for us. So now you could see there were many different kinds of dances here. So if I invite you as my special guest, can you give me some more introduction about the traditional Guozhuang dance? Well, actually, different counties have different ways to do the Guozhuang dance. Thank you. Let's continue our tour to see if there are many more dances here. So now we are at the delegation. They're coming from Luqu County. So actually, Luqu is home to the Guozhuang dance. In Luqu, basically every one of the people living there they know how to do a Guozhuang dance. I realize you are having a facial mask. What are you doing right now? I'm doing a mask dance. I realize that not only men do this kind of dance, you're also joined by ladies. That's right, this kind of dance is suitable to both men and women. So what is your job? I'm a teacher. So you would like to join the performance today? Yes. So I would like to join all the activities that relates to the cultural export and the tourism festival. So can you give me some of your comments about this Silk Road and also the development of Gannan? Since the reform and opening up, I do feel the rapid development of Gannan, and we have better economy, and also people are living a better life. I think opening up actually bring more opportunities for the economic development in local region. And we also see many visitors who are coming to Gannan and coming to Luqu. Actually, for all of you, I believe all of you are quite confident to welcome all the guests from all around the world and show the best part of your culture. Yes, for my county, it is quite profound in the history, and also we have abundant natural resources. I believe when the foreign friends coming here, they would love this place. Where do you come from? I'm from Thailand.
Local government for exhibition at below. This is the first time and have chance to come enjoy this ceremony and culture in Guozhuang. Thank you so much. ขอบคุณค่ะ。这次也是因为这个“一带一路”这边来过来的。不好意思，你不是很懂是吧？但是我刚才听到您说了一个 exhibition， 就是有一个。
So is it because of the Belt and Road you are coming here? But I hear that you say the word exhibition. So you're actually coming here to join the Silk Road International Cultural Expo. All right, thank you. We also see some foreign friends coming here. Even though there was some barrier for me to talk to them, but you could see the enthusiasm in the culture in China. Now we are still waiting for the grand opening of the performance. So can you give us some moves on the dance? For example, we can have some music and maybe you can show us some of your moves. So we can have a flavor of the facial mask dance. So what are you holding? What's that? This is just a stick to help me with my dance. So, do you have any understanding about this kind of props? Well, we are quite interested and quite curious about the dance. Now you can see it's quite prosperous in Gannan. However, back to 5 years, this area is stricken by poverty. So for Gannan, it has 7 counties and 1 county-level city. And by the end of last year, there are actually 7 counties have been lifted out of poverty, including Duodi and Luqu. And also for Lint'an County, they will be lifted out of poverty by the end of this year. However, for the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, it actually belongs to the 3 regions and 3 prefectures, which needs assistance for the poverty alleviation. So through this live streaming, we just want to show our courage and also show our determination that we will do all we can to lift all of these impoverished regions out of poverty. And for Lint'an and Luqu, even though now they're still living under poverty, but I believe in the upcoming months, they will be lifted out of poverty by the end of this year. And also, actually, last night we have another performance. And we're actually working with the tourism departments in the local regions, and we try to promote the tourism. So as we all know that this year is a critical year for poverty alleviation, we just want to show our strength to win the battle of poverty alleviation. And actually, for the theme of the Expo and Festival this year is to facilitate the Silk Road prosperity and the poverty alleviation through culture and tourism. We just want to promote the culture and tourism to the countries along the Belt and Road route. We want to promote our products to those who are along the route, and also we believe that we can conquer the poverty alleviation. And for Lint'an, even though it is quite poor, but it is quite abundant in natural resources and is quite beautiful in its scenery. So that's why we want to develop a tailored green industry in those regions. We need to build beautiful countryside in order to conquer the task of the poverty alleviation. As I have just mentioned, the theme of the Expo and Festival is to facilitate the Silk Road prosperity and poverty alleviation through culture and tourism. Actually, through the performance, you can actually feel the diversity of different counties. By having this kind of diversity and openness, we can attract more visitors here. In this region, even though they're quite poor in nature, however, it is quite abundant in natural resources. It enjoys very beautiful scenery. We have mountains, we have wetlands, we have forests, we have grasslands, and also we have all the enthusiastic herdsmen here. However, back in a few years ago, maybe we were not paying attention to the environment protection. There were many garbages scattered around the Gannan prairie. So start from 2016, for all the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, they have launched special projects to make sure that they have a clean environment. And for Gannan, nowadays it's become a symbol for tourism. And also, they have a slogan that if you are visiting Gannan, you will see zero garbage. Now you can see the prairie and the grassland are quite clean and beautiful. With this kind of natural resources, and you could see the living environment has become much better, and also it can improve the sense of gain and sense of satisfaction for our citizens. And with the natural resources, it actually attracts many visitors coming here. Now we are just showing you some of the photos back in the old days for Gannan. You could see at that time there were many garbages. And imagine at that time if a person visit here, when he saw this kind of garbage, maybe he doesn't want to visit here. However, with the 5-year project that has been launched by Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, the living environment has been improved as well as the atmosphere. Now, if you are walking down the grassland in Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, you will see no waste, no garbage. You could see these people, they have already obtained an awareness to keep their environment clean. In the past, maybe just some CBC leaders, they are working to protect the environment. But gradually, more and more people are joining their endeavor. And they're making the grassland more clean, making their living condition much better. So now you could see people have this kind of awareness to pick up the garbage and put it into the cabin. So for the last 5 years, I would say there are a lot of big changes in the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. Now you could see the countryside are getting more beautiful and also more greener in the prairie. And also you could see people who are living here have a stronger sense of satisfaction and sense of gain. So I would like to ask you a question. When you are walking down the alley and the grassland, if you see garbage, would you like to pick it up? Yes. So will you take a plastic bag to collect all of those garbage? Yes. So for in the past, I believe maybe just some CBC members, they try to lead the others to clean the environment. And actually for myself, I am a CBC member, so I would like to protect the environment. I remember in the past when you were trying to buy something from a shop, you were using a plastic bag. But now you're using an eco-friendly bag to purchase the goods from the shops. So for this kind of eco bag, they're quite recyclable and also will not cause more damage to the grassland. So what's your impression about your hometown? Do you feel your hometown is getting much more beautiful? Right. Actually, I am coming from Luqu County. I remember there is a Daxiu village in Luqu County of Gannan. And also, I remember just back in a few days ago, Daxiu village is recognized as one of the national demonstration sites for beautiful countryside. I believe due to the joint efforts, the Daxiu village has become a demonstration site for beautiful countryside. I believe there must be a lot of changes for Daxiu village. So with the improvement of the environment, do you feel there are more visitors coming here? In the past, there were very few visitors, but now we can see there are many visitors here today. Do you own a guest house? In the past, my family owns a restaurant. So do you see an increase of a number of people who are dying in your restaurant? So what's your income right now? I never count. So anyway, it's quite profitable. How long have you been performing this kind of dance? Around 10 days. Well, so for some people, they dance for a long time, but for you, maybe just come out of the habit. All right, thank you. Now we are actually standing at the Dangzhou Prairie of Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. Alright, let's take a look. If you look at the other side of the mountain, there are some rocks that are not covered by grassland. And for the shape of those kind of rocks is actually in the shape of the sea snail. Sea snail is one of the 8 treasures in the Tibetan region. So for sea snail, it also represents prosperity and auspiciousness. So that's why we are choosing this place for the cultural expo and the tourism festival. Now you can see there are many visitors coming here to enjoy the grand celebration of the cultural expo and the tourism festival. They're actually enjoying their days during the festival, and I see some people, they're bringing tents and bringing some food. So when you're going up to the hill, you're actually getting very close to the nature. And for these people, they are waiting for the grand performance, for the opening ceremony for the cultural expo and the tourism festival. Now you could see the facial mask dance from Luqu. And for Luqu, it is actually home to the Guozhuang dance. So every one of those people who are living in Luqu, they know how to dance Guozhuang dance. If you visited Luqu, you could see many people are dancing the Guozhuang dance in the evening. And one session for the opening ceremony is actually 1,000 people dancing the Guozhuang dance all together to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the founding of PRC. Now you can see the mask dance. So they're wearing different costumes and also they have different props. So for this kind of moves, I can tell it's quite similar to the moves of Guozhuang dance. However, these people are wearing different traditional costumes. As you can see, start from 9 a.m. this morning, we are still holding the opening ceremony. And by the end of the welcome corridor, there are actually a culture and tourism exhibition center. And in 9 a.m., There was some speech that delivered by representative from the Gansu Provincial People's Government Ministry of Culture and Tourism, China Trade Promotion Council. In the first three cultural expo, they were taken place in Dunhuang, and this time it is the first time that we have this Silk Road International Cultural Expo in Gannan. And now we are still waiting for the performance of the 9色 Shabana tourism performance. And actually we have some delegates who are attending the grand performance of the 9色 Shabana performance gala. So now you can see these people, they're actually experiencing the culture of different counties of Gannan. So now in this area, you could see there are many dancers who are doing the performance here. On the two sides, you could see this place was crowded by the visitors. They're actually sitting on the mountains. They're waiting for the performance show that will take place just in a few minutes. Today we're just trying to enjoy the special feature and some of the characteristics of the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. Moreover, we just want to further understand the spirit of the Silk Road. Now you can see for people who are here gathering in the Dangzhou Prairie, I believe it is over 100,000 people. So for those who are coming here, they may want to sit in their tents and wait for the performance. And some people, they just want to get close to the nature. So of course, in order to embrace the nature, first of all, you have to make sure the environment is clean here. Now you could see the grassland here is quite clean. And also I noticed one thing. Even though on the two sides we could see over 100,000 visitors and audience, but I realized there is no waste or no garbage by their side. In the past 5 years, there is a project which advocates to build a clean place in Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. So all of the people who are living here, they already form this kind of awareness not to drop the garbage anywhere. Now you can see many visitors are actually trying to enter into the venue. And later on, we will see more and more people who are gathering here to see the grand performance. Pretty soon, we will see a grand performance. So, for example, you will see the horse galloping. So you will have over 700 horses galloping all together, and for the riders, they will be holding the national flag. And also you could see some people are here practicing the dancing, and later on there will be 1,000 people Guozhuang dance. And they will form different circles, and you could see the circles constantly changing their patterns during the Guozhuang dance. Now you could see some of the guests from the countries along the Belt and Road route are entering into the venue, and some of the visitors, they are taking photos. They just try to capture this moment.
我们的游客呢是边走，然后边拿出手机，把我们民族的特色保存在自己的记忆里，保存在自己的手机里。表演结束
Now you can see all of these visitors, they're holding up their mobile phones. They try to capture more photos to capture this moment. And for the people, for the dancers who are at the welcoming corridor, they're actually welcoming the visitors who are joining this event. As of now, I could tell the number of visitors here is over 100,000, and we see more people are coming in right now. It is actually the first time that we host the Silk Road International Cultural Expo in Gannan. We actually feel the natural scenery of Gannan. At the same time, we actually inherit some of the history from Gannan.
我们的藏族表演团队现在也是一边跳舞一边口里面欢呼着，欢迎我们来自五湖四海的宾朋。
You see, for those dancers, they're welcoming all the friends coming from all around China. We would like to get inside to get more information about the performance. For these dancers, after they complete the performance here, they will gather at the center of the Dangzhou Prairie. For some of these dancers, they're actually quite talented. Now they're doing the mask dance, but pretty soon they will do 1,000 people Guozhuang dance.
所以现在我们可以看到，哪怕是我们的周边的这个草坡上，已经有10万名游客以及群众之多，而此时此刻呢，仍然有不断的有这些游客会涌到我们
As I've just mentioned, there are over 100,000 people gathering here for the grand opening of the performance, but we still get a lot of visitors coming in just now. So for this event, basically it takes place in late July. So for this year, we also have this night color Shambhala art performance event. However, this kind of event has been already integrated into the cultural export and the tourism exhibition. However, this is just a start, and this kind of festival will last until August 31st. Within 1 month's time, many representatives from countries along the Belt and Road route will attend this kind of event, and also, for example, Dunhuang itself will host some events that are in relation to the Silk Road. So on August 31st, there will be a closing ceremony for the cultural export and the tourism festival. Now, in the opening ceremony, you could see it is a stage for all of the people to show their confidence. I can tell for all of the performers and dancers, they're quite busy. And now we have a special guest here, also a beautiful Tibetan girl. And pretty soon, she will become the host and lead me through the performance. And she will tell us more about the characteristics of the Tibetan region. Hello, everyone. Can I say it in Tibetan?
这还分这个好多类型是吧？也就是同样是属于甘南，其实一个县跟一个县的。
Actually, there were different types of Tibetan language. So for different counties, they may have a slight difference for their languages. For example, if you use Tibetan from the prefecture region, please say hello to the friends. Well, actually, there were different towns in one prefecture, so even though you're coming from the same autonomous prefecture, you may hear different accents. So we have just spent 15 minutes in our live streaming and talk about the art performance from 3 counties, including some of the performance from Lintan, from Duodi, and Luqu. And also we talk about the Guozhuang dance. And now at the end of the performance, there will be 1,000 people who will gather together for the dance. So it takes a long time for the preparation for the 1,000 people Guozhuang dance. Now you can see all of these visitors, they are actually entering into the venue. They are about to appreciate the art performance. So for now, maybe we could visit some of the tent. Now we are at the Hezhuo County, the Dangzhou Prairie. So in Dangzhou Prairie, on top of the Cultural and Tourism Exhibition Center, there are many tents setting up here. So for each year, some of the CPC leaders and maybe some local government, they would like to set up different types of tents to welcome the visitors from different regions. It is also a way to show their special features.
So 大家可以来，因为刚才我们也花了很大的篇幅来给大家介绍，就是近5年以来，甘南藏族自治州就是环境以及生态的一个变化。其实这种全域旅游无垃圾的这种。
Actually, we talk a lot about the development in the past 5 years in Gannan Autonomous Prefecture. And for the awareness to keep this place clean is actually down to every one of them. Now let's take a look on the ground, on the grassland. Even though there are many people here, there were no garbage here. And for these people, they would like to take the garbage with them. They will put it into a trash bin, or they will take the garbage along with them. Now, we are still doing a project to protect the environment. So no matter you're an official or just a grassroots, you have to build up this kind of awareness to protect the environment. You can see there are many people here. It's quite bustling. And for those people, they came here quite early. I actually wake up at about 5 a.m. I departed at 7 a.m. When I arrived here at 7 a.m., there were already a large number of people gathering here. And by 7:30, we could see this place is already crowded. of the visitors. Because this is a grand festival for the local residents. So every year upon this time, these people will come here voluntarily. And also there are many foreign friends or some people from other parts of China come to here to join the cultural expo and the tourism festival. So they came here, they just want to appreciate the forest, the wetland, the grassland, and the beautiful lakes here. On top of those natural scenery, they can also celebrate themselves in this grand performance. Just a quick reminder, actually for the altitude here is about 2,866 meters, but it is still not the high altitude here. Because for some regions, the altitude is even higher, over 3,000 or 4,000. So for some people coming here, they may get a little bit of sick because of the plateau weather. And when you're facing down the sun, make sure that you'll not get burned. If you just spend one morning or one afternoon, you will get suntan. So just be careful when you are visiting here. You may wear some sun-proof clothes to make sure that you are protected. I always hear that for some people they're saying if you're putting some sun lotion, it's useless. So if you stay here for one day, so by tomorrow you will get tanned. And also I realized there's very big temperature differences here. Now I'm getting very hot right now because it's almost noon. So it is just a quick reminder for people who like to travel here. So first of all, just make sure that you'll not get sick because of the contrast of the altitude. So you have to make some preparation. Make sure that you are not running really fast when you're coming to the grassland. If necessary, probably you could have an oxygen tank just to make sure that you will not get sick during the travel. Now you can see there are many changes, new atmosphere in the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, but still you have to stay safe when you're visiting here. So this year we are hosting this cultural expo and the tourism festival in Gannan. This is because we want to give our visitors a complete view of the natural scenery of this area. And also it is a very important stop for the Silk Road. And also this place also represents a prosperity and happiness in the Tibetan region. And for this place, it already have the confidence to show their welcome to people from all around the world. They're ready to show their beauty to the world. So they just want to show every part of Gannan to the world at large. Some people may have some stereotype, some false impression about the Tibetan region. From some of the footage you could see in the past, maybe it is in a mess because you see some of the garbage throwing all over the place. And for some people who are from the Tibetan region, people are actually living in the same building with their cows, with their animals. But now we have already made this kind of change. For example, in the Daxiu village, now it has become a very beautiful village. It has become a demonstration site in China. meaning that the people and their goats, their cows are living in the different place, and they built their region based on green development. So for the place they're living in, it is quite suitable for tourism, but also very suitable for their own living. So right now, you can see Gannan have all the confidence to show the beauty to people from other parts of the world. It is also a kind of confidence that actually coming from Gannan. So for the location of Gannan, it is actually an intersection in China. Some people compare Gannan to the window of the Xinjiang Plateau. So if you visit here, maybe more or less you will get some premier understanding about the Tibetan region. But of course, there's a lot to improve in the future. Well, it takes courage for you to say we still need improvement. Because in the past, maybe people are not aware of some of the shortcomings. But now you do see there was some improvement in the eco-environment. And also you could see the local government have taken a lot of efforts to improve the environment here. So for you, are you going out to pick garbage along the street? Yes. I would do it every day. Every time I see a garbage, I would like to pick them. So now gradually, for me, it developed a kind of habit for me to pick this kind of garbage. Last time I visited Nanzhou, I see they waste the bottle, and I try to pick it up. I suddenly realized that, well, I'm not in Gannan, but still I have this kind of awareness to protect the environment and not to throw the trash anywhere. Because it is not right. We have to make the change. I actually do hear two stories about the garbage management in Gannan. So I remember the first story is that for one of the limousine, it is passing the traffic light. And through the window, you see this visitor actually trying to throw out the bottle and the garbage out of the window. And for this footage, it is actually captured by one of the local citizens. So that's why Gannan always advocate that zero garbage from all over the place. We welcome those who bring no garbage here, but for those who bring garbage here, we just want to give them a quick reminder. Actually, it is actually a demonstration of mutual respect. If you respect your friend will respect you back. So this is just one story, and the other story is that one of the elder people, he threw some of the garbage along with the flood. But unfortunately, he was captured by other members. Because of the fear of the public opinion, this gentleman just post an apology to the others. So it is actually quite strict for the environmental protection in Gannan. I remember I used to interview some of the visitors last year or the year before last year, and I asked them questions about the environment in Gannan, and they all show their gratitude and their appreciation for the clean environment in Gannan. Alright, right at the beginning, we just seen some of their performance from the 7 counties and 1 county level city. But now you could see at the center of the Dangzhou Prairie, there are many tents setting up here, because each year for some of the officials they will set up the tent to welcome the visitors. This is just the tents. They're actually setting up in the middle of the prairie. You always think that for the Tibetans, they're actually a nation on a horseback. Maybe we can visit some of the tents to get a closer look.
行，那我们就以这个为例吧。其实这个一个，我们通过它的外面的这些标语可以看到的藏王故里，其实卓尼人民欢迎你，这是我们卓尼县的这一个帐篷。其实每一个县
Maybe take this one as example.
在这边都会。
As we can see the slogan hanging up on the tent, Duodi welcomes you. So probably this tent was set up by Duodi County.
另一方面呢，就是也是把这个自己的这个。
So for these tents, they're actually welcoming the visitors coming all from
展现给更多的人。所以呢，我们现在
all around the place, and also they would like to demonstrate some special culture and characteristics to the outsiders. So maybe we can take a visit to the Duodi's tent. I would see there are many kids. They're running around the grassland. Actually, for kids, they're quite stronger. They're stronger than adults. Alright, let's get inside of the tent that was set up by Duodi.
可以说还是比较用心，因为刚进的时候，您看到很多的这个彩灯，就可能在晚上的时候，显得比
It
较
is well decorated.
醒目一点。我们
You
现在
can see some of the silk
是
and also the colorful lamp.
应该是我们的外院吧，外面的这个院子，里面应该是还有一径，因为我看这边还有一个门。
This is actually the courtyard of the tent. I believe there is another side of the tent.
每年的节会其实，都会搭这么一些帐篷，然后把自己的特色，然后也附着在上面。欢迎在节会。
So each year during the exhibition period,
各种各样的这些。
we all setting up all of these tents here to welcome the visitors who are coming here.
的确是，这个其实我觉得有点像我们这个汉族的院子里面的这种两进。就是进了这个院子之后，然后再进，还有一些，还有一个帐篷区。
Actually, this one, the structure of the tent is quite similar to some of the architecture for Han.
牧区生活的一个缩影，其实都是搭在我们的这个草原上。我们也可以。
So for these tents, it actually shows how the Tibetan people live in the grassland.
我们这个，我们。
As you could see, when you are setting out the tent, you're not creating some damage to the grassland.
这个台子其实它其实是悬空的，它不是说直接就是搭到我们的草原上，就是尽可能的减少对这个草原的这个破坏。
I always notice one thing. This kind of platform is actually not directly attached to the grassland. This will help to protect the grassland. I can see many visitors are in the tents that were setting up by Duodi. Altogether, we have 5 tents. So first, wash your hands. It feels like after you wash your hands, you're about to taste some food. Do you have tent in your household? Yes, actually, each year we will set up the tent here. So for example, today, many people are thinking that today is a special festival. That's why many residents here, they're setting up tents here so they can appreciate the performance, and also they would like to sit back in their tents for some relaxation. And for Tibetans, they love this kind of activities. So for the visitors, either they are staying in the center of the Danzhou Prairie, they are waiting for the performance, And for the other of them, they would like to set up their own tents. So we would like to visit this particular tent to see what are the things inside. Right, so we are entering one of the tents that was set up by Duodi County. Let's take a closer look. So we are still not at the peak hour, because now it's 11 o'clock. But after 12 o'clock, we will have more people coming here. But today we have a performance here. But I believe from day to night, there were numerous customers. And we will run the tent until 11 p.m. And the sun goes down quite late. Well, it is quite bright. It is sufficient of the sunlight. And the ventilation is quite good. I can feel the wind. So maybe you could give us some introduction about the tent. So this is a very conventional tent. Can I say that? Yes. If it is a Tibetan type of tent, these are all similar. I already see some of the featured products from Tibet. So what is that? It's like a sofa. We just call it sofa in Tibetan style. And also you could see some of the colorful paintings covered by this kind of desk. How does that made? So we're actually using some of the cowhide and also some hair from the sheep. We actually put some cushion here to make sure that it is comfortable to sit on. We make it quite colorful and with Tibetan features. For example, I'm a visitor. I enter this tent directly. Do you welcome them? Yes. As long as the people enter into our tent, they are my friends. This is actually one of the spirits that was called from the Silk Road spirit, which is inclusiveness and openness. So for me, I would like to pretend I'm a guest. As I've just mentioned, for Gannan there were like 7 counties and 1 county level city. Actually 5 years ago, maybe you have a very huge pressure for poverty alleviation. But now, as far as I know, Duodi has been already lifted out of poverty. So we are just like waiting for Lintan and Machu to be lifted out of poverty. But now with the development of the other counties, we can see the confidence, and also we can feel the prosperity of the other counties. So as a guest, maybe you have to taste 3 cups of wine. It's just a reception procedure. This kind of silver pots and cups are actually the feature of the Tibetan culture. So I realized you put it like 3 cups here. So what does that mean? Do you mean like the heaven, the earth, and the human? All right. Well, actually, we are doing a live streaming right now, so we cannot drink right now. maybe you can take a sip on behalf of our team. So can you tell us about the meaning of the lyrics? We just like welcome our friends. So for this kind of song, I remember I heard once, it is actually a very common song to propose a toast. Well, I already hear the sound of the horse galloping. Maybe we can go outside to see the performance of the horse galloping. So I can hear the sound of the horse galloping, meaning that the performance is about to start. Now you can see 700 horses are galloping with colorful bands. So they are actually galloping down from the mountains. So for the leading rider, actually he is holding the national flag. Also we could see there were 20 escorting forces accompany the leading rider. And actually you could see there were 70 people who are holding the national flag, meaning that we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding of PRC. And also we see other riders holding colorful banners. So for horse, it is a crucial part for Tibetan culture. Because in the past, the horses are considered as the king of the prairie. But nowadays, in addition to herding, we are also developing the ecosystem, and also we're developing the tourism. But we also have these horses here. We can organize some activities for the visitors. Now you could see the horse fleet is galloping here. They're just passing the main stage. And for the leading rider, he's actually holding a large size of national flag. And also there were 20 riding forces accompany the leading rider. And also it is followed by 70 riders holding the national flag. 70 riders, 70 flags, meaning that we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding of PRC. It is just a gift showing to the motherland. And also with the flag, we also shows our determination to follow the guidance from the CPC. Now you can still feel the sound of the galloping and the music. Now you could see the horse team are actually passing the main stage. They're riding from one side to another.
所以，纵观整个历史，不管是丝绸之路上的驼铃声声，我们的驼队以及商人也好，
In the past, we all talk about the camel team, the sound of the rings of the camel. And also in the past, on the Silk Road, we trade goods from horses. Actually, both horses and the camels witness the exchange between the central part of China and the outside world. It also represents the cultural exchange between the two regions. Actually, for Tibetans, they love their horses. Every year in July or August, for different counties, they will actually organize the horse racing competition. For example, in Machu County, they used to organize the horse racing competition. So horse play a key role to Tibetans. So I used to attend one of the horse racing competition. And for all the horses, they're actually competing with each other on a large rink. And also there is a stadium in the middle of the rink. And each time when a horse passes the finishing line, and you can feel the cheers from the audiences. It's just like they're playing a soccer game. For horse racing, it also has a long history. It is also well known as a Tibetan sport. For my friends who are visiting Gannan, I always recommend them to attend the horse racing competition in different counties because I just want them to experience that kind of atmosphere for the horse racing. So for a development of a nation, it actually comes with different stages. So horse is actually our friend. And also horse can be traded as an intermediate between two nations. As I've just talked about the Silk Road, and also I talk about the camels. The camels, they're carrying some of the silk and some of the commodities. And actually at the same time, the horses, they're also carrying some cloth and some of the other commodities for the trading. So this is actually an integration of civilization. So horse is a very important transportation tool for Tibetans. It can connect the Tibetan region to the outside world. Actually, after the horse galloping, we have the grand opening of the performance. Maybe we can go back in the tent. I believe after the performance finished, I believe all of the visitors will come inside the tank. By that time, it is difficult for us to squeeze inside of the tent. We have just talked about the horse, the role of the horse in Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. Actually, in Tibetan regions, horses are playing a very key role. So horses are also of equal importance of the equal development. Now you could see, for some of this food, they're actually a combination of the style in Han and also Tibetan region. For example, for mutton, this kind of food is also well known in the Tibetan region. This is our daily food, but however, in mainland, you won't eat this kind of food every day. So for my special guest, she just tasted a sip of the wine, But for me, it's such a pity I cannot get some of the drinks. I want to ask for Duodi counted. Will they participate in the Guozhuang dance? Yes, because now go back to the main venue, you could see there are many people actually coming on the center of the stage. They're playing the Guozhuang dance. Actually, for Tibetans, they're quite talented. When they hear the music, they know how to dance. And for you, are you originally from Tibet? No. I'm actually from Han. However, I've been living here for a long time. I already integrated myself into the Tibetan prefecture. So I would like to ask you a question. What's your comment about the development of the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture? Do you think there are a lot of changes taking place for this prefecture? Yes, actually, in the past 5 years, we do see an improvement for people's livelihood, and also we have a better economy, and also we could see the sense of satisfaction is improved. As you have just mentioned, for Tibetans, as long as they know how to walk, they know how to ride a horse. If they hear the music, they know how to dance. However, for them, they still have to find a way to earn a living. And nowadays, as we all know, the livelihood gets better for these people, and they have this kind of mood to sing and dance. And here, Zhuoma is about to prepare a dish for us. So for the guests, we have to sit facing the entrance. When you're preparing the dish, let's take a closer look on the food here. What is that? Is that beef or mutton? Both. This is the mutton meat. So you have to chop the mutton into slices and put it into intestines. And what is this one? This is a kind of wild fruit here. For this one is grown out of the trees. And this one is the butter. And also we have honey. The honey's nest. And now I'm making the rice cake, which is the major staple food here. Before we enter, we see there are like 2 basins. I think we have to wash our hands because we are going to have food here. So first you get 1 piece of the cake and add some water. So for the butter, you're actually putting some of the milk into a barrel and continue to mix it into before you make it into a butter. And now we are waiting for the special food that was from the Tibetan region. And actually for all the visitors here, they're actually appreciating the performance at the same time. they bring some food on their own, so they can get some snack and also enjoy the beauty of the nature and also appreciate the art performance. So when you're coming here, you can feel the charm of the natural resources and also the natural scenery. So now I'm making the mixed cake. So I'm putting some flours and the rice cake, and also I adding some butter and the sugar. You have to knead the dough properly. Now it's ready to eat. So be careful not to put too much water inside of the bowl. So actually, as long as you have a guest, you will serve meat to all of the guests, right? So now for the art performance, there are many people participating in the performance. As I have just heard, 60% of the performers are actually coming from all walks of life. So for the singers, you could see some they're doing some modern singing and some of them are doing the traditional singing. And for Tibetans, they are very talented. They love singing and dancing, and they really like to take part in this kind of activities. So you can see people from different level, different age groups attended this kind of performance. Now you can see the Dangzhou Prairie has become a large stage. So you could see people are performing here, and also our audience are actually sitting on the mountains. So when we see some of the performers, they're doing their show in the center of the Dangzhou Prairie. Some of the audience, they're actually doing their own dance. So what is this one, the nest of the honey? How do you taste that? This is actually the most fresh and original honey nest. So actually for the beef, for the bees, they actually taken some of the powders from the flowers, and for this kind of honeycomb, it is really fresh. We are not adding some other ingredients. And also you are putting some fruits here. I don't see much of the fruits here in Gannan. In the past, we do have very few fruits, but now you could get anything you want in Gannan, and people can afford to buy this kind of fruit. In the past, back in my young age, it is very difficult for me to get one apple, because we do not grow apple trees here. In the past, we do not have much trade cooperation with the outside world, so we are not very abundant in resources. So in every aspect, we can feel this kind of mutual learning and win-win cooperation. I think the rice cake is almost ready. So now it's ready to eat. Not sweet enough. At this point, you cannot put more sugar inside of it. It's very healthy.
我真觉得你水放多了。
This is sugar, not cane sugar. I think you put too much water inside of the bowl. It's actually a typical food for the herdsmen back in the past. For some time, when they are going out for shepherding, they could not come back home within one day. They just put this kind of food as a snack. For this kind of rice cake, it is with high protein. So you will not be hungry if you take some of them.
您是纯牧业县，还是说是这个半农半牧的？农林牧兼有，鱼也有。
For this kind of highland barley, it can seldomly grow in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. And also we are trying to develop the fishing industry here. I think for the visitors who are coming to the Gannan Prefecture, it is quite lucky for them. On one hand, they can appreciate the art performance, and at the same time, they can also taste some local specialties. I realized that while I'm doing the live streaming, some of the artists, they're actually entering inside of the tent. Maybe they would like to put on a show. So does that apply to everyone? Because I'm a reporter, I want to ask, if I'm a random guest, will you perform for them? Yes. So what is the instrument? Thank you for your performance. When I listen to the music, I'm wondering if I am a random guest. I'm so received by the Tibetans. So how can I show my gratitude to the Tibetans? How to say thank you in Tibetan? So for thank you, this is just very common here, so we can learn how to speak in Tibetan language. This means hello. So any special gestures to show your gratitude? So for example, you cross your hand, or how to do it? I remember in the past when I interviewed some of the friends from the Tibetan region, they're using a special kind of gesture to show their gratitude. So even for Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, people from different counties, they will wear different kinds of traditional costume. For example, just in the Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, there are over 80 types of costumes. And for Duodi, they also have a special kind of costume that was actually upgraded from the imperial costume. So for this kind of costume can also be served as the living fossil in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. And for this gentleman, the clothes is quite thick, and for this one, it's quite thin. But if you just look at the color, you could tell these are quite unique. Especially for the matching of the color. As you can see, they're using some of distinct comparison of the color. People like to wear clothes in blue, and also you will match a vest in green or red. So it also represents the harmony between man and nature in the Tibetan region. And let's take a look at the back side. Take a look at the hat. So for this one, it's quite different from the ones you look. I think there are many jewelries on this hat. I think this one is quite expensive. For this kind of hat, we call it the coral type of hat. So you could see all of these decorations are made from the coral beads. And also it has a representation of zooadic animals. And for this kind of hat, it's called three-string hat. That's because for these ladies, they have 3 braids. That's why the hat have this name. This is quite unique in the Tibetan region. So as a random guest, I can come in here to taste some special food, and I can also see some art performance. And also you're welcome by 3 cups of wine. And also you can enjoy some of the different types of traditional costumes. Actually, if you visit different tents, you can feel a different atmosphere of the Tibetan region. So because we are doing a live streaming, so we will not taste some of the meat. Just save it to you to serve more guests. So maybe we can step outside to see some of the art performance going on right now. Oh, I could see very strong sunlight right now. After I step out of the tent, it is quite cool inside of the tent. For the tent, the ventilation is very good. However, in winter, it can keep you warm, but in summer, it will make you very cool. So that's why people would like to live in this kind of tent. And in summer, even it is quite hot outside, and you can put out the sleeves of the tent so you can feel the coolness that was brought by summer. So if you want to exit the tent, you have to go around the 2 sides. Actually, for Tibetan culture, sometimes it is integrated with the Han culture.
其实像我们有时候我们的一些汉族的一些人，有时候去一些文娱活动，可能去一些 KTV 里面去唱歌啥的。我觉得我们的藏族学生就不用了。
For some people from Han, they're actually singing songs inside of a KTV. However, in Tibetan region, you don't have to go to KTV. You can just sing along at the prairie. Do you sing? Not very much. But I'm a good singer. Even though I'm not an expert in singing the Tibetan songs, but I know a few lyrics. For example, I know how to propose a toast in Tibetan language. Maybe I can sing a few lyrics. So this is song to propose the toast. Now the art performance is going on. And for the Guozhuang dance, it will be the last one. And at the beginning, we have just seen 700 horses galloping down the hill. So this is because today is a very special occasion. Gannan is the first time to host the Cultural Expo and also the Tourism Festival. At the same time, we are also celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding PRC. Now we are at the Dunhuang prayer. Now we are having the 4th Silk Road International Cultural Expo and the 9th Dunhuang Tour Silk Road International Tourism Festival. So today we are having the opening ceremony, and this event will last until the end of August. During this period, we will have some exchange with the countries along the Belt and Road route. At the same time, we'll bring more opportunities for the development of Gannan Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. So even though now we're at noon, it's very hot, but still on the two sides you could see it is crowded with audiences. They are watching the art performance here, and also they're enjoying their time with the nature. I think when we're hosting these two events in Gannan, we would like to show the new changes and the new atmosphere in Gannan as to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the founding of PRC. Now we have come to the end of our live streaming. And in the future, please stay tuned to get more information about the development of Gannan. Thank you for watching, and thank you, my guest. We will see you